Hello, how are we doing? It's Friday, it's 7:31-ish, and that means it must be time for live. Is there anybody out there? If so, how are you doing? What are you up to? Are you one of the people who's already at Melbourne Raceway? Because I know there are quite a few people there already. What's new? Not a great deal here, to be honest. I'm trying to think what I did last weekend. Yes, I went down to the workshop and thought I'm going to finally make a start on that Chrysler's brakes. Hello, Biff. How are you doing, mate? How's things? You well? Yes, I thought finally make a start on the Chrysler's brakes. Whipped the front wheel off because the front near side was the worst binding. All the brakes are binding on this car. And yep, hello, Kim. And whipped the wheel off, and yeah, sure enough, one of the sliders was seized. The other one was fine, sliding away greasily and merrily as he liked. But yeah, one of the sliders was stuck absolutely solid. So off with the caliper, off with the carrier. Not looking like it's budging. Fortunately, the guy with the workshop next door to me, his mate, who is a plumber, happened to be there at the same time. He says, I've got a blowtorch. He says it's one of those sort of blowtorches that's got a bit of acetylene in it. That'll shift it. Great stuff. So I put it in the vise. 18mm bar. Yep. No, not moving. Right. Start heating it up. Heat. Nothing doing. For ages and ages. And then Aid says, hold on a minute. He goes and gets another blowtorch. So we've got 2 blowtorches on it. Great stuff. So bar, lean. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Snap. Tits. And yeah, it is absolutely rock solid in there. So, bugger this, I thought. I'm going to look for a second-hand one rather than trying to drill it out because it's a brake caliper carrier. You drill that hole wrong for the slider, and the slider's going to be slack. And there's nothing worse than something that's greasy and slack. So, yeah, I'm thinking, look for some second-hand ones. So I thought, right, I'll move on to the back. So again, left-hand side, back, up in the air, wheel off, caliper's fine, moves fine, piston pushback, fine, no problem. Parking brake, so eventually got the disc off, and the parking brake shoes are worn down to absolutely bugger all. I mean, less than 1 millimetre of meat on them. Chuffing hell. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, I have not fallen in love with this car the way I thought I would. I do not. Does anybody fancy a nice Chrysler 300C project? Needs some brake work. But other than that, yes, since then I've been at work a lot. I may be heading up this weekend, hopefully maybe going up to Melbourne on Sunday. So, what is anybody up to this weekend? Have you got anything good on? Are you heading up to Melbourne, in fact? Like I say, I'm hopefully going up there on Sunday. I'm just waiting to find who else wants to come along. The number of people in the house who wish to come along will dictate what car we take, because if more than 2 people come along, it means I can't take the Mustang. More than 2 people total want to go, can't take the Mustang. So, yeah, that's all there is to look forward to at the minute. Melbourne on Sunday, and then that is pretty much it for the year. Of course, this weekend, Melbourne is going to be there's 2 races. There's a round on Saturday and there's a round on Sunday. There's also jet cars, fireworks, music, God knows what else going on. They're making a pretty big weekend of it. And this weekend will decide the National Streetcar Challenge final scores, because of course NSCC you do the racing, obviously you go to shows and cruises and whatnot. You accrue points basically by getting out there and using your car, driving your car, enjoying your car. Great. But the shows and cruises at which you can accrue points, the point scoring stops at the end of September, which means the only thing left at which you may score points is the final round of racing. and that is this weekend. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. I said in the last mail newsletter thing that it was highly unlikely that, or it was increasingly unlikely that Damien could catch Martin Rawlinson and take first place. However, I'd forgotten there's 2 rounds of racing. Damien's car is pretty quick. So, although it is still fairly unlikely, it's not as unlikely as I may have made out. It could go right down to the wire. It could go right down to Sunday. And hopefully I'll be there to see it. So that's that. What else have I got to do? I don't know. Yes, the battery's gone flat on the van. The Mercedes is still doing daily driver duty. I still keep thinking, ooh, I must change the blower motor in it. And by blower motor, I mean, for the inside heater, not any supercharger or anything interesting like that. So, yeah, that's still to do. And you can see I'm cracking right on with that. I'm also thinking the front 2 tyres are getting a little bit close to the wear markers. May have to stick some new tyres on. Other than that, like I say, I want to take the Mustang out for one last time because I forgot to sawn it at the end of September, which means I've paid October's road tax. May as well bloody use the thing. Get me money's worth. Before sawing it at the end of the month. I did idly think I would really, really, really like to do a track day in that Mustang. I went to Alton Park, the US Auto Show at Alton Park, so in the middle of August. And part of their, you've got your American Speed Fest. Hello, Derek, how you doing, matey? How's Melbourne? You got your American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch. They've got their counterpart in the northwest at Alton Park. Now, intriguingly, about 2 hours ago, Bernie's V8s, which is a wonderful race series, and the title series. Hello, Nick, how you doing, mate? Derek, Bernie's V8s is the title series that raced at the US Auto Show at Alton. Wonderful series, all like old muscle cars, TVRs, MGB V8s, basically anything with a V8 in, getting its head kicked in. It's wonderful. Now, they've just released their calendar for next year. One of the dates, which I'd not seen before, is a date mid-September 2024, a US-themed American car event at Snetterton. Now, Snetterton is in the middle of nowhere in the flatlands out east. And, there's not far away from all the American air bases, so a traditionally good hunting ground for American cars. So, hello, even Dave missed last week's episode. Had to go. He didn't miss that much, I don't think. How are you, sir? Yes. And how's things going with you, Nick? And Dave, how are you doing, Dave? So keep tuned, because I don't know whether it's been officially announced yet, but yes, there may be a Speedfest stroke US Auto Show stroke whatever equivalent out at Snetterton next September, and it looks like Bernie's V8s are headlining, which can only be a good thing. Bernie's V8s also racing over at is it Assen in Holland next year? Anyway, great news. Bernie's V8s and Historic Outlaws. Find their page, give them a follow, or look at berniesv8s.co.uk or whatever it is. Wonderful series. So yes, there are quite a few calendar entries for next year already dropping. Yes, I know. I mean, we've already had the major dates from Santa Pod. The trip out, who else? Race the Waves. They've already given their dates out for next year. So if you already happen to have a 2024 diary, or you happen to have one of them file effects that goes on for years, you can start filling it in already. Lots to look forward to already. Unfortunately, between now and then, there's bloody winter now. I'm sick to the tits of winter, and it's not even the middle of October yet. It's pitch black out there. However, hopefully, and I'm touching my wood and crossing my fingers at the same time, This weekend's forecast looks pretty decent. We may... Hello, Ian. How you doing, matey? How's things? And yes, all is okay. Thank you very much. If anybody happens to be wondering why I'm talking to two cameras, it's because this one is YouTube and this one is Facebook. So, yeah, there's plenty to look forward to. Like I say, there's a bloody long winter in between them. What plans do you have for winter? And, like I say, my plans for winter did include this Chrysler, but frankly, like I say, right this minute, I can really take or leave it. If you do fancy one, shout up. After I've given the Mustang a run out, like I say, I do just... Oh, that's it. I was talking about track days before I got completely derailed by Bernie's V8. Anyway, yes, having done the Alton Park thing, part of which is the participants, the show cars, get to do a sort of a parade lap or two at the end of the day. Now, this didn't run as smoothly as I think they would have anticipated. And it did involve lots and lots of sitting with the handbrake on the circuit at Alton Park, behind a pace car, waiting for everybody to get on track. Then suddenly the pace car buggers off and everybody goes, way, and follows him, whoosh! Unfortunately, pace car, which I think was a BMW X7 or something like that, went sprinting around the track, only to very quickly catch up with the back of the queue. So it didn't go that smoothly. However, on one of the couple of sprinty bits that we did get to do, I thought, you know what? This Mustang isn't quite as life-threateningly poor handling as I expected it to be. I would very much like to explore these limits. Whether this will happen or not, I do not know. And if it does happen, it's got to happen before the end of this month, and it's got to happen at a weekend, which really, really limits your options, because track days seem to be aimed almost exclusively at people who can have days off midweek. I can't. So, there you go. Has anybody ever done a track day like that in a less common track day car? Or not the sort of typical track day fodder? If so, it'll be interesting to hear it. Years ago, I took a previous Fox Mustang around Mallory Park as part of the Practical Performance Car magazine's, was it Cars in the Park or something like that they called it? And it was a load of fun. It was an absolute riot. And this Mustang was basically a bone stock 5-litre LX automatic on bone stock Chinese radials. It was a great deal of fun, it really was. And I would like to explore it further. If anybody has done such a thing, please do shout up. Another idea I've got for the remainder of the year, which I can't afford, and I have lots of ideas that I can't afford. Is anybody else in a similar boat? I can't imagine. Is towards the end of November, just as the grimness of winter is really starting to take hold, is the increasingly popular Brits Jolly Abroad to Malta. Now, again, most people take a week's holiday or whatever and make the most of this because, you know, it's Malta, it's sunny, it's lovely. Let's go to Malta. Yeah, I'd love to do that, but I can't. I've had an idea that I think could work because I work half a day on a Friday. I think I could do a weekend in Malta. And at first glance, it's not as expensive as you think it is. Hello, Martin. How you doing, matey? Is that likely to happen either? I do not know. But it is something nice to think about when the nights start drawing in and it's drizzling. So, is anybody else here going to Malta? Has anybody else been to Malta, to Halfar for the MDRA's end of season finals? I'd really love to go because I know they have a lot of machinery that you just don't see over here. Or rather, they put their time and effort over here. It seems like most people, I want to go drag racing. That means American car, big V8. And yes, I know there's the whole European front-wheel drive scene, which is generally tiny car, remarkably powerful, high-revving 4-part. Both are good. But the Maltese just seem to have a lot of cars. They seem to spend a lot more effort on four cylinders and rotaries than we do over here. Except they happen to have some nice old British Fords kicking around, and I know that old Escorts, Cortinas and whatnot are still a big staple of the scene over there. I would very much like to go and see them. In fact, if you looked on the Hot Rod Gazette group, I think it was yesterday night, a fella posted an advert for another event that's happening next year. I think it's the first weekend in June in Hungary, a place that I cannot pronounce. However, I showed this to my friend at work, who is a Hungarian, who said, "Oh yes, is Russian airfield, Russian Air Force." And I thought, what? Yes, okay. It was probably built by the Russian Air Force back in the day, pre-Glasnost and all that. So yes, it's an airstrip that is being annexed by drag racers for the weekend. So if you fancied a really long ride out, Hungary. So I take it nobody has been to Malta then. Well, bugger. I'd still like to go. I want to check that my passport's in date. Although the last time I used that passport, oh shit, it probably isn't in date. Damn. Last time I used that passport, when I had my photo taken, I think, oh no, there was a passport before, is that when I had to go and have my photo taken for my passport, I had a really nasty cold and my face had all swelled up and I looked like death spread thinly on toast. And everywhere I went, you put your passport in the little scanner and it scans your photograph, then it scans your face, and he went, nope, this isn't him. Shit. Hello Jerry, how you doing, matey? How's things with you? How's your projects, or are you still aircrafting? Because I saw your metal flake aircraft, what do you call them? Things that go over the wheels. Very classy, proper, absolutely proper. Who was that fella who lived in the Black Country who had a 57 Chevy? Beautiful one in turquoise and white, and he had an aircraft painted to match. And I mean, aircraft is like a 2 or 4 seater Cessna or something like that. It looked cool. Well, it only looked cool when they were parked together, otherwise the effect was kind of lost. Anyway, yeah, there we go. So that's, yeah, that's kind of it. Yes, of course, the news of the week is that Kenny's Bar reunion has been cancelled. Yes, due to indifference. So, yeah, so that is not happening. That was supposed to be happening, I think, a fortnight on Saturday. That will now not be happening. However, if anybody wants a sticker with the date of an event that's not happening on it, do let me know, because I have quite a lot of them. Anything else to tell you? Well, sadly, no. So I'm really hoping for some input from you buggers. Because, yeah, I've got very, very little to, like I say, that apart from a couple of hours last weekend, I've got not a lot to say at all. Damn. Hello, Diana, how are you? How's things with you? I take it you're not on pit duty this weekend? In fact, are you done for the year now, or are you doing Flame and Thunder? Because, of course, Flame and Thunder is 3 weeks tomorrow. Flame and Thunder is 3 weeks tomorrow. That's the Saturday. The Sunday is the NSRA Northern Swap Meet, Melbourne. So, well, there we go. Possibly I will be going back to Melbourne this year. I will be... Oh, I do. Alex went a year or 3 back. Most impressed by what she saw, yes. Hello, Nigel. How you doing, matey? How's things with you? In fact, you've been. I was talking earlier, well, a few minutes ago, about Malta, the sort of the Maltese MDRA finals, which is towards the back end of November. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Alex and was folks still around at that time? Well, was her dad still around at that time? Yes, because in fact, I'm sure they went quite a while ago. Because I'm sure her dad was idly talking about moving out there because he was a fairly skilled body and paint man, and they are greatly in demand. Ian says, I'm rubbing my car down for a respray. What brought this on? I mean, was this just a winter refresh, or has something happened to prompt this? Otherwise, yeah. So nobody's done a track day either. Bloody hell. Evening, Darren. How are you, matey? Are you well? What are you up to this weekend? Are you out and about, or are you hiding from the weather? Because, yeah, there's not a great deal. In fact, the calendar from now on is pretty bare, let's face it. The after the end of October, it kind of goes into very dead season. I think it was a family trip. Yeah. Like I say, I'm sure I remember talking to John, and he said he was idly considering moving there. Yes, mate, we're heading. Oh, you are. After this last weekend at York. Fine. Oh, yes, mate, we're heading for Malta. After this last weekend at York. So, sorry. So basically, you're going to Melbourne this weekend, and then sorry, I suddenly thought, what? It's not next weekend, is it? No. So the next thing you were doing after Melbourne is Malta. Fair enough. Final outing for the car as it is. Now, I know you were considering, if you don't know, Nigel has a beautiful Firebird early 70s Formula, and it's currently a really, really nice yellow that I really, well, that's sort of orangey yellow, and except a lot nicer. It's more a Sunny Delight yellow. And are you still considering a colour change? Is there anything I can do to persuade you not to? Ian says lots and lots of stone chips and the bonnet flying off. Oh, bugger. Yes, I think you mentioned this. It is a 70 formula. Right, okay, 70. Sorry. I couldn't remember exactly what year it was, but yeah, it is gorgeous. And like I say, it's in this beautiful sunny yellowy orange, which should stay. So what is the plan then, Nigel? Colour change back on the car. Ooh. I'm sorry, but the bar is very high with that Sunny Delight orange. Are you changing? Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So when you say bonnet flew off at Sywell, is this during the Pistons and Props event? Oh, crikey. Right, okay, I suppose that could prompt a repaint. Yes, not going straight to Malta. Well, you could do. You'd be there and you could save yourself a seat, couldn't you? You could find the best seats in the house and stick a beach towel on them and then come back for them in, 6 weeks later? I don't know. Or just stay there. Just stick your beach towel on them and then stay in a Maltese hotel for the next 5 or 6 weeks. That kind of appeals as well. But yes, I mean, anyway, not wishing. I'm told Pink Flake is back in. Ooh, yes. I assume this isn't some sort of obscene chocolate product. Hello, Tilly. Yes, hello, Aid. You're right. His Pistons and Props was parked in the pit area, and the bonnet still blew away. Hold on, was it attached to the car at the time, or was it on the ground next to the car? Because this was the same weekend as... No, was it the same weekend as the Eurofinals? When the Sunday we had that sudden bloody storm that just appeared out of nowhere mid-afternoon? Because that would shift a bonnet. It shifted a lot of gazebos and things at Santa Park, I know that. It was shifting deck chairs and picnic hampers and God knows what else up the banking. I don't know. I think a Pink Flake Firebird formula could work. And you say Pink Flake is back in. I think the question you need to be asking is, did it ever go away? Where the chuff was I going before this? I don't know. So, yeah, there we all go. Please do chip in with stuff. Um, it was on the cart and the wing got under it and it ended up on the floor. Oh, bloody hell. So, yeah, like I say, that probably a good job he didn't take some bugger's head off on the way past, because is it steel or glass? Either way, it's, yeah, that wind was incredible. The way it just, we were all sat there on the banking thinking, that black cloud looks a bit serious. And then 5 minutes later, it was like hellfire and damnation. But there we go. Ah, hello, Biff. Well, good to have you wherever you're at. Whichever bus you happen to be on. I was kidding, it's okay now. I don't know. Now you said pink flake, mate. I'm thinking, it's steel but being replaced by fibre. Okie dokie. Right, okay. And it's not a one-piece front end, yours, is it? Of course not. Otherwise the bonnet wouldn't have blown away. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I've got good to tell you, or bad to tell you, or anything. I suppose the big news in the papers this week has been good old Rishi has said that HS2 is no longer going ahead from Birmingham upwards. Now, I live in Staffordshire, which of course lies on the line between Birmingham and Crewe. Jesus Christ, you should see the feckin' mess they've made. Loads and loads of places. Never had problems with wind before. That's not what I've heard. Yeah, somewhere between, like I say, Birmingham and Crewe, you'll find us absolutely bouncing. Oh boy, is that a side effect? But either way, good to hear. Are you getting any car work done? Are you still signed off? That's the question. So yeah, and HS2 has just bought up all these, plots of land and whatnot, moved all these tractors, like wagons, tractors, porter cabins, JCBs, all this lot onto these fields. Basically, strip them bare of any trees or anything that grows, turn them into massive swathes of mud. Now they're being told it's not going ahead. So all this stuff is now redundant, and they have created some fairly accurate replicas of the Somme all the way from Birmingham to Crewe. Super. So if you were thinking, oh, at least if HS2 isn't going ahead, they won't be ripping up acres and acres of countryside, too bad. It's already happened. And I feel for anybody who was sort of compulsory purchased or booted out of their homes or whatever, and homes that were knocked down to make way for a railway that will now not happen. Been back at work all week, blimey, almost zero side effects. Been buying more Corvette stuff though. You can't pass that off as a side effect, Biff. And I mean, it does not say that on the packet of medication. It does not say side effects may include compulsion to purchase car parts. Unless it does, in which case I suspect you have added it in biro, just to show to Trish. Can all the land that's been cleared for HS2 be used for a series of end-to-end drag strips? Yes, we all know how much Rishi Sunak is secretly behind the motorist. Well, plus end-to-end drag strips. If they were end-to-end, that would just be one big long drag strip. And I don't think any drag racer in the UK has geared their car for more than a quarter of a mile. Never mind what would amount to being about 80 miles. Plus, the big problem there would be that it would be, like say, about 80 miles. Think of the backup girl. So you do a rolling burnout, you could end up in Stoke. And then they've got to guide you back like that for God knows how many miles. Plus, yes, like I say, the pits will be in Birmingham and the shutdown area will be in Crewe, which could be a bit of a pain for people in golf carts. It's all I think of. yes, it could be a pain for the people with the golf carts who tow the cars back. And like I say, if you run out of gears at the end of a quarter mile, where you're going to go, you're kind of going to be bouncing off the limiter for about 79.5 miles, which probably won't do your engine much good. You'd have to fit a much, much bigger fuel tank to most race cars. But it would be a good laugh. Assuming if they paved it rather than just put rails down. Because just imagine, a slingshot or something where there's no suspension in it, you got your plums resting on the differential, bouncing over railway sleepers for 80 miles would probably, the novelty would wear off fairly quickly, I'd have thought. Yeah, other than that, well, yeah, one thing, because I thought, oh, shall I either watch or read the transcripts of the Tory party conference? No, because let's face it, life is way too short. I took the bullet point headlines out of it, one of which was HS2 Northie bit scrapped, going to use some of the money to reinvest in road and rail and general transport infrastructure in the north. No, surely not. That cannot be right. Well, the thing is, they've got how many billion ring-fenced for HS2? That could fill in a few potholes. I mean, you could probably literally get all those billions in £5 notes and literally fill the potholes and just screed a tarmac over the top, done. And it would still be cheaper than HS2. Or, no, that would be silly. So yeah, we could maybe even see some slight improvements in the roads. I'm not holding my breath. But it would be nice to see. And I mean, this whole HS2, this is an opinion, by the way, the whole HS2 thing has been a bloody white elephant right from the start. Because we're going to throw billions at this high-speed rail network whose main benefit is that it can get you to Birmingham 20 minutes faster than the existing rail network. How many Southerners really want an extra 20 minutes in Birmingham? How many of them really want to get to Birmingham that little bit faster just so they can experience 20 minutes more of Birmingham? And from the Brummies' point of view, well, actually that is quite a benefit, is you can feck the Southerners back down south faster. So, yeah, I never really saw the major selling point of this. But, however, no, I mean, somebody did point out that it would be cheaper to dig Birmingham up and move it closer to London. If they put it round about Warwick, that would be about 20 minutes closer to London. I can't see the people of Warwick being that delighted when they wake up in the morning, open the curtains, and there's bastard Stetchford. But it would roughly achieve the same thing. And it's talking about reinvesting this money in Northern Road and Rail, including the M6. We're going to invest money in the M6. Again, this is an opinion, I think the best investment they could make in the M6 would be to de-smart it. As somebody who has spent more than his fair share of time on hard shoulders, I really, really think they are necessary. They were never there. They were never there at the side of the motorway just for truckers to bung pop bottles full of piss onto. They were there for poor bastards like me in really knackered old cars that would just suddenly expire without warning, or with loads of warning that you just ignored. So I would like to see the removal of smartness. Hello, Lee. How you doing, mate? You all right? So the removal of the smartness from the M6, the reinstatement of the hard shoulder. And I think the hard shoulder is going to be further in demand as age and inherent fragility of electric cars starts to rear its ugly head a bit more. Because, let's face it, electric cars generally don't have a massive range. They're aimed at people who do shorter journeys. Fine. If I only ever had to drive like 5 miles a day each way and knew that I was never going to drive any further, I might consider an electric car. However, that's not the case. And yeah, and if any of these electric cars, as the age of the age of the car increases, so battery life does tend to decrease. So the people that do make motorway journeys are going to find they can make slightly less journeys or fewer miles than they could previously. When this begins to happen, because let's face it, these electric cars are still fairly new, somewhere down the line, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more cars on the hard shoulder than we have done in previous years. So yes, in between, like I say, the pop bottles full of truck drivers' piss and the carcasses of truck tyres and the carcasses of any animals that happen to wander onto the motorway, I think we are going to end up seeing a lot of dead Teslas and things. That's happened with Reading and Bristol being within reasonable travelling distance of London. The house prices go through the roof along with the cost of living. Well, yes. Bristol is within travelling distance of London. If there's a train, that's like, is it M4 or M3 to Bristol? I can never remember. Either way, that's not a motorway journey I'd want to do every day. No idea what that question means. So, isn't a lot of Teslas a good thing, though? Not if there's no hard shoulder. If there's no hard shoulder, that means a lot of dead Teslas in lane 1. I really don't know how much notice you get that a Tesla's about to die. So, it could be in lane 3. And then what happens? Along come the highways officers, big red X's appear on the gantry signs, the motorway grinds to a halt. Unless they change the law so that the highways safety officers in their Toyota Land Cruisers or whatever they drive these days have a big bull bar on the front of them, just go up behind the Tesla and push the fecker off the motorway, I can see this actually causing more delays than we ever thought possible. And presumably this time of year, because we are past the the autumn equinox. So, they're also going to be using lights, wipers, heater, all things calculated to shorten the life of your battery. So yeah, I really, really think that very, very soon, not having a hard shoulder is going to really come back and bite people on the arse. I say people being mainly the people who thought it was a good idea and the drivers of electric cars. Which isn't to say that the old internal combustion engine is infallible in the reliability department. I know for a fact that this is not the case. Hard shoulders need a scale extra tight. Yes, that's it. You can slide over and be pulled off. Well, that seems to happen on a lot of the back roads around this neck of the woods. Although, surely the point of a scale extrix type groove is that you don't then come out of it again once you finish being pulled off. I don't know about scale extrix type groove. You know those things they have on aircraft carriers to help sort of launch the aircraft? I think one of them. Every so often, on a steep hill, on a descent, you occasionally have a sort of an escape thing full of gravel. So should your brakes fail, you to go whoosh into a big gravel trap. kind of like that on motorways, where if you're driving along, and suddenly your electric car goes, because it's like phones. If there's one thing a phone loves to do, to let you know that the battery's nearly dead, it's light up and flash and vibrate and make noises and other things that use a lot of battery power. So whatever a electric car does to let you know it's about to die, the second you hear that, you look for one of these sort of escape things, pull over, and then a massive great bungee cord fires you down the hard shoulder. And if you do that often enough, you might make it to a services and be able to plug it in. But on the other hand, that also does sound like quite a lot of fun, and I can foresee a lot of internal combustion engine drivers using it to save fuel. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's not. Yeah, Nigel, I'm afraid I've found a major flaw in your plan. Also, having that, like you say, that live groove, because on the scale electrics thing, you got two bits of metal like that, and one's positive and one's negative, which is great when you're running a 12-volt scale electric track. But I don't know what sort of, is it 440 volts that you charge an EV at? Yeah, so if you step on one of them with your bare feet, it could prove tricky. Although, yeah. Oh, super. Yes, what date is it today? October the 6th, is it? Fireworks. Fireworks give me the shits at the best of times. But come on, it's literally a month till bonfire night. Stop it. Pain in my arse. Yeah, okay, now I've grumbled about electric cars and I've grumbled about fireworks. Is there anything else I can bitch, piss and whinge about to... any particular rants that you lot want to get off your chest? Because this seems like the place to do it. Yeah, has anybody else noticed the price of fuel is creeping back up? Last time it ramped up like that, bosher, almost overnight, and everybody was like, what? Panic, 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 panic. This time, it's heading the same way, but it's been creeping up. The graph has been a lot shallower. But yeah, a lot of people now are saying that, petrol's back up to 160 a litre, and diesel's heading for 170 a litre, and it's been going up and up and up for a couple of weeks, and nobody seems to be saying anything. Anybody know why? And not the usual reason of because people are greedy bastards and whatever. Ooh, yeah, back up to 167 for diesel right now. Well, that's it. Because it's been creeping up, it seems that nobody's really noticed. Which can't be good news. So yeah, if anybody knows why, do let me know. Or are we just blaming Putin again? Because I know he gets... Oh, look at the state there. I know he gets blamed for almost everything, which is fair enough because he probably did it. Yeah, what else is going on? Please do tell. Hold on while I switch to coffee. So, apart from great ideas about things like doing track days and going to Malta, when I can barely afford to go to Tesco, have I got any other great ideas? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I say, I'm kind of thinking if somebody offered me the right money for this Chrysler, I would happily let it go. I have also seen something else that I want to buy, of course, because getting rid of the Chrysler would leave a large Chrysler-sized space. And as nature abhors a vacuum, anybody who likes cars abhors an empty parking space. So yeah, I have seen something else. However, I will go on record as saying it's not for me. Unpaid intern 2 turned 18 at the beginning of the week. So he's been muttering about learning to drive or taking lessons. I find it puzzling actually, because when my first driving lesson was on my 17th birthday, and not hell, high water, or plagues of fucking frogs would have stopped me. Now it seems like very few of the lads, sort of contemporaries, are as keen on getting behind the wheel as I was, and a number of my friends were. And it wasn't just, taking lessons and getting your driving license. It wasn't just something you did when you were 17. It's something you look forward to from the age of about 10. And now it seems not so much. And I think it's because, running a car has never been cheap. But currently, if you're a teenager, it is bastard ruinous. And even if you do the old cop-out of get yourself put down as a named driver on somebody else's insurance policy, you're still going to have your trousers taken down. And the person who owns the policy is going to have their trousers taken down. Now, I'm all for keeping it in the family, but that is silly. However, yes, so now he's sort of been mumbling about lessons even more. So I'm thinking maybe soon. I bought my first car at 16 and 5 months, drove without issue, passed my test at 17 and 3 weeks. Yes, well, I had been driving since I was 10, but only on private land. Fortunately, I grew up on a farm, so this was an option. But yeah, I took my first driving lesson when I was 17 and 0 days, and passed my test when I was 17 and 3 months. Diesel is 169 around here. Bloody hell, some good cheap fuel finding apps available for free. The thing is, those cheap fuel finding apps are never, they're never radically cheaper. And, I hear people at work say, oh, yes, I filled the car up and I went to this place over here because it's 2p a litre cheaper. Right, so you saved, what, £1.80? No, probably not even that. So, 10, 20, 30, 40 litres in a tank, so that's 80p. You saved 80p. But it was £2.50 out of your way. Test centre here is nearly a year booked up. Jesus wept. Paid for 3 lessons, passed first time. I also passed first time. However, on my first lesson, my driving instructor said to me, oh, you've been driving for a while, haven't you? I said, yes, thank you, I have. He said, it's not a compliment. He said, I meant, you think you know the fucking lot, don't you? Okay, right. So after that, I started listening a bit more. But I suppose back in my day, we didn't have fucking PlayStations and whatnot that made you think you knew how to drive. Yes, I've done Forza Horizon and I've done Grand Theft Auto, so I know how to drive. No, you don't. But there we go. Anyway, yes, the upshot of that particular grumble was that I found something that may be really, really good for a learner driver, and it's diesel. And it's sensible. Well, it's not sensible, no. If it was sensible, I wouldn't be able to afford it. So it's silly. It's a sensible car, or it was, when it was a lot newer than it is now. However, that's another thing that I'll add to this massive long list of things I can't afford. Or, no, things that I do not have spare money with which to pursue. It is bang in my price range, my price bracket. However, there's nothing in the kitty, so it doesn't matter what's in that price bracket. It could be a Lamborghini, but it doesn't mean I've got that money. Even when I were a lad, we were that poor, even the rainbows were in black and white. Yes, well, quite. And if ever there was a car that could be described as a black and white rainbow, it's this one I've just found. Oh Christ, I'm slipping down my chair again. Had rally lessons off a mate in Dad's Renault 12. Renault 12, blimey, there's something you don't see anymore. A Renault 12, or the subsequent version. Does anybody remember the 80s incarnations of Dashers? Romanian built Renault. They're Romanian built Renaults, built under license. Yeah, because when the Renault 12 finished, the Dacia Denim took over and was unremarkable. Well, the only remarkable thing about it was, apart from its cheapness, was that it was a Renault 12 that was still being sold. They're like many years after it passed its sell-by date. Which were actually used on rallies. Does anybody remember the Renault 15 and 17 coupes that were based on the Renault 12? They were quite handsome cars. I saw one the other day. Well, someone, online or whatever. The other day, a Renault 17 TS, I think it was, and I thought, that was a bloody handsome car. It's a shame it was underpinned by a Renault 12. Evening, Nick. How you doing, matey? How's things with you? How's things up at Melbourne? Is it nice and chilly? Because, yes, after looking last weekend at the forecast for this weekend, and it said it was going to be bloody glorious T-shirt weather, and I thought, magnificent. And from then till now, the forecast has gradually gone from glorious to middling. But anyway, yes, hopefully, Nick, I shall be joining you, or me and an unspecified number of passengers may be joining you on Sunday. Your first car was a 14, a Renault 14. Bloody hell, there's another car I haven't seen in the flesh for years. My dad tried to teach me to drive in an FSO. Still can't drive. I had a Renault 18, too sexy. Oh no, I thought Renault 18s were like kind of dull. They're sort of 3-box saloons, weren't they? Unless it was the turbo, which was a bit of a Q-ship, wasn't it? Isn't be a great? Yes. Hold on, let's have a show of hands. No, that's not a hand, Morris. Put it away. Yeah, right. Okay, everybody agrees. Yes, beer is, in fact, great. Not bad at the moment. A bit windy, but quite mild. You or the weather? Hello, Harvey. You all right, matey? How are you doing, bud? Are you heading for Melbourne this weekend? I want to put a Renault 19 rear spoiler on a Rover 213. The things we do when we're young, eh? But, yeah, FSO, I did briefly own an FSO 125P. That was the Fiat, the predecessor to the Lada Riva, the even boxier version. I was given it for free, and it was worth every penny. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it running right. All French cars should be consigned to the bowels of hell. No. You'll be at Melbourne on Sunday? Fantastic. Nice one. I shall hopefully see you there. I am. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon. Nice one. So there you go. He's going to, along with Capri headlights and Lancia Y10 wheels. Okay, Lancia Y10. Weren't they the tiny little hatchback? Now, I'm sorry, but some French cars are interesting. And let's face it, any French car from the Fuego backwards is more interesting than, frankly, any Ford in the range at the moment that isn't a Mustang. Yeah, so even their age makes them interesting. And I'm not counting the Renault 9 and 11 because they were dull, unless they were the turbo. Dave, hello, matey. Els wanted to take his test in the Willis. Oh, that would have been cool. That would have been the best video ever. As the examiner would have no idea how to spool up and bump in at the lights. Oh, yes. If anybody doesn't know, by the way, Dave and Elliot Day campaign a mid 8-second fully street legal 33 Willis in Street Eliminator. And yes, it's an absolute weapon on the track and would scare the steaming piss out of, frankly, any passenger. Which is not saying anything against either of their driving skill. It is just such a weapon. Got to go. The fire pit seems to have a mind of its own. Well, somebody there needs to, and it may as well be the fire pit. Well, hopefully see you Sunday, Nick. And yes, thanks for dropping in. They were a massive 14-inch diameter. I had a Fiat 132, 1978-79 Fiat 132, which had 14-inch steel wheels that looked a bit like Rostyles, but they weren't. There was some sort of ITI equivalent of Rostyle steel. And they had 185 60-14s. Now that was super low profile, high performance shizzle for back in the day. Back in the day would have been the mid-90s. And when the Fiat 132 was it went to the scrappers because it was rotten. After I'd had all the good bits out of it, of course. I did break it for spares. Unfortunately, what I didn't consider was that there were no other 132s in the UK, and therefore nobody really wanted any spares. See you on Sunday, Dave. Safe trip across. Off to work on a night shift. Nice. Yeah, I do not envy you. So enjoy your Friday night shift, and see you there the weekend. So yeah, I took these Rostyle wheels on. Like I say, 185 60-14s. Now they were bloody expensive at the time, because large diameter rims, low profile tyres. And I put them on my Yugo. I bought a Yugo, which was 10 years old at the time and worthless because it needed a new exhaust. So I fitted a new exhaust, I think that was it, and put these 132 wheels on it, which are massively too big. And if any more than one passenger got in the back seat, they used to rub the arches, which didn't damage the tyres. No, it eroded the arches, which tells you all you need to know. Any recommendations for outdoor car covers? Are there any good ones out there? Outdoor car covers? Shit. No. Well, sorry, I do not know, because the only car covers I've ever used, I used a tarp. I used a massive bloody tarp, such as you might sheet a load on a lorry with, over my Camaro. All it did was rub the paint off every single corner. Unless you're having one that is properly tailored to your car, no matter how bloody soft it is. I don't care if it's made out of angel's pubes, it is still going to buff the corners of your car away. Or, damage the paint on any protrusion. So look forward to losing the paint on the outside edge of your wing mirrors and all this sort of thing. However, I will stand for anybody who has actually used a proper one to chip in. I do not use them on any of my... I do have one, but I do not use them on any of my cars, mainly because they are on soft ground. So any moisture that gets underneath the car stays there and gets trapped inside the bubble. But yeah, if anybody has any recommendations, I've never known a car cover that doesn't cause micro blistering, what he said. Indoor car covers, fine. If the car is in your garage and the garage is bone dry and you are looking for the cover to do nothing but keep the dust off, fine. There are loads out there. Outdoor car covers, I can't say I'd recommend one. If it's only for the odd weekend, says Biff, then they're okay. I have one for the Corvette, and after one winter I binned it because it ruined the paint. So I think the question we need to be asking here is there such thing as a good outdoor car cover? Or is the one where the pros of keeping the weather off outweigh the cons of the collateral damage? Well, it is also the case that I've never owned a car worth putting a cover on. And the only reason I put a cover on any of my cars is because something on the car leaks, i.e. lets rainwater in. So all it is an extra way of trying to keep the bloody water off the seats. Shitloads of polish regularly and leave it uncovered. This is true. That's good for your paintwork. If you lather on the wax, I mean, I used to find that. Do you remember you used to get sort of almost a solid wax in a square tin? Yeah, and you used to get that, and it was like butter. And you used to warm it up a bit, I mean, leave it on a radiator or something, just to soften it a bit, not make it your liquid, just soften it a bit. And you could bang that on anything, bosher, and it would set lovely. Apparently the Carcoon is pretty good, but tospots tend to slash them. The Carcoon is very good if you have somewhere sufficiently out of the way with 240 volts. Yeah, so that pasty wax, bang that on, thick like you're buttering a crumpet. And that'll protect your paint. However, it won't stop water getting into other bits and bats. Has anyone tried rim wax? Well, I had me back done a while ago, but yeah, I stopped short of that because yeah, it looked a bit painful. Yes, we are. Yes, the Carcoon is good. I mean, I think they do outdoor ones. But again, like I say, it has to have 240 volts. I mean, we're not talking a major current draw here, but you know, if if you need a 150-foot long extension lead, might not be too convenient. And as Biff said, the jealous amongst the public may tend to take a knife to them. And it doesn't take much to ruin a Carcoon. One little prick can do it. Never tried rim wax. I have mine bleached. Ah, yes. I find a toilet duct gets right up in there. Yes, and well, Morris has had a rim wax, apparently. I'm happy to take his word for it. But I think it was a fairly amateur job. And when he threw the tape strip down on the floor, I thought somebody had run over a squirrel in the lounge. Anyway, I've been gibbering on for quite long enough. And I've, thanks to the whole rim wax roadblock, I have now run out of shizzle to say. If anybody has anything they wish to add, please do so right now. Otherwise, I'm going to go downstairs and open a beer. Yes, we are, mate. I've answered you. So, if anybody else has anything to add, please do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to bugger off. Because, like I say, there's beer and pizza calling me. So, what? Oh, you can fuck off, mate. So, if there's anybody got anything to chip in with, say so. Okay, guys, good night and safe racing if you're at the track this weekend. Yes. If nobody else has got anything to add in with, I shall be, like I say, at Melbourne Sunday. Hopefully, possibly in the Mustang, maybe not. Or I may, you know, have a sudden windfall and be able to indulge in all these crap-handed ideas that I keep thinking of while I'm at work. This is what happens when you have a job that doesn't require a lot of brain power. So, there we go, everybody. I shall hopefully, yes, see you Sunday, Derek. Thank you, everybody, for dropping in. I shall be back here probably Thursday night, 7:30, because yes, day shift next week. So Thursday night, 7:30. Thanks, everybody, for coming along. Thanks for chipping in. And we shall see you all then. Don't forget, if anybody was thinking of it, probably won't, Kenny's reunion cancelled. So there we go. And you, Dave, and probably the next time I see you. Oh, are you doing Flame and Thunder, Dave? I hope the weekend's good for you. Yes, I look forward to it also because it's cheap. And yes, thank you very, very much. And if not before, Dave, I shall hopefully see you second weekend. Oh, hold on. Second weekend in November. So thanks a lot, guys. No, okie doke. Well, hopefully second weekend in November, bud. See you later. Have a really, really good weekend. Be safe. And yeah, next Thursday. Bye-bye.